We're only a few days away from the start of another high school football season and cannot get here fast enough. What's happening? Welcome to Wingstop Inside High School Sports. I'm your host, Pat Doney. If you think you are ready for the start of the season, imagine how players and coaches are feeling these days. After 2 or 3 weeks of practicing in that summer heat, it's finally time to start tackling someone who is not your teammate. It's time to let you know what teams to have an eye on this year as we go around the Metroplex to start the show. Let's start with the defending 6A state champs down in DeSoto. After going 5-6 back in 2015, the Eagles went 16-0 and captured their first ever state title. That championship was followed by an alleged school board attempt to run off head coach Todd Peterman. The DeSoto community rallied behind Peterman, and he returns for his 3rd year. Texas Player of the Year Sean Robinson's off to college, but the Eagles return plenty of playmakers, including new quarterback Courtney Douglas, who says playing behind Robinson was extremely beneficial.
Sean, he balls, so I picked up mostly it was in-game adjustments, how Sean, they switched up the defenses, how he did it, how he reacted.
Our defense, most of them play on defense, and so we have a lot of kids coming back there, so that's going to be where everything's built around.
Just down Beltline Road, Cedar Hill's breaking into a new era. After 14 years, Joey McGuire's moving on to Baylor, and former Arlington Seguin head man Carlos Lynn takes over the reins. The Longhorns have 3 state title banners hanging, so new coach or not, expectations are always high at Cedar Hill. Coach Lynn hopes to use the speed of his athletes to keep the Longhorns on top.
I think our playbook is so wide open right now. Just like you said, we have a plethora of ways that we can attack teams with the type of skill guys that we have. So, I mean, anything goes right now, and we're excited to be able to cover a vast amount of things to put our kids in the best position to be successful.
Cedar Hill's first opponent will be another 6A favorite, the Allen Eagles. Allen is 75-3 over the past 5 years with 3 state titles. Junior Grant Tisdale will start at quarterback. Tisdale's a highly touted dual-threat QB, and he'll have the luxury of a solid ground game to work with running back Brock Sturgis and offensive tackle Trey Stratford leading the way.
Every game we're the hunted. I think, in my opinion, every time we face a team, we're going to get their best. As Coach Gamble was telling us, they're going to practice their hardest that week. They're going to come to play the hardest this week. So it's basically just taking 1 week at a time, 1 practice at a time. It's really a blessing to be, have the bullseye on our back, because that just means we're doing something right.
The rest of 6A is wide open. Saxey's coming off an 11-1 season and returns the nucleus of an explosive offense led by quarterback Jalen Maiden. Reginald Sample's resurrection project with Duncanville should continue to be one to watch. The Panthers were 11-3 last year and return a good chunk of their defense. However, the offense will need to reload and look for Skyline to bounce back from his 5-6 season a year ago. Junior quarterback Velton Gardner ran for 1,000 yards and passed for another 1,000. Head coach Derek Roberson is expecting more out of him this year to help lead the Raiders to the top of District 9 6A.
We saw him grow this summer. As far as taking more of a leadership role, being here every day at workouts, doing things extra, throwing to his receiver and stuff. So, his ceiling is extremely high, as they were saying, on the college level, and we expect great things.
In 5A, look for a solid 10 to 12 teams from DFW to make a run for state. That includes both of last year's 5A champs, Highland Park and Aledo. The Bearcats outscored their opponents by 600 points last year and should have just as stingy of a defense this year. However, all eyes are on sophomore running back Jace McClellan, who burst on the scene as a freshman, rushing for 1,500 yards. With only 2 other starters returning on offense, McClellan will be the focal point for Aledo, who hopes to win a 7th title in 9 years this December.
We don't want to be one-dimensional, and if you are lucky enough to go play a long season, that old running back deal's you only take so many of those hits, and you got to be careful about how many times you feed him up in there, Now, we'd like to be able to run football. That's kind of what we've been known for around here, but we'd like to be a little versatile.
Highland Park always has a lot of turnover, and that'll be the same this year, especially on defense. John Stephen Jones is back at quarterback and will lead a potent aerial attack. Speaking of efficient offenses, look for Denton Ryan to be playing deep in December as well. The Raiders' run to a title was halted last year in the semis when starting quarterback Spencer Sanders tore his ACL in the semifinals. Sanders is back this year and has 2 of the most dangerous receivers in the state to toss it to in 6'4" Toski Dove and speedster Gabriel Douglas. Colleyville Heritage made it 4 rounds deep in the playoffs last year, and expectations are high for this season. Third-year head coach Joe Willis returns 6 players on both sides of the ball, and he brings back a dynamic receiving corps as well. Panthers take on Aledo in Week 1, and Coach Willis is expecting another big year at Colleyville Heritage.
This third year, the standards need to go up. We won 10 games last year. We need to get beyond that this next year, and I think that's what all our guys here in the locker room feel.
Plenty of other Metroplex teams should be dangerous as well, including Lancaster, Mesquite Petite, Frisco Lone Star, and 2 Mansfield teams, Lake Ridge and Legacy. Don't be surprised to see another 5A sweep for the Dallas-Fort Worth area come state time. As for 4A, look for the usual cast of characters, except for one twist, Midlothian Heritage. Lee Wigginton's team lit up the scoreboard last year to the tune of 46 points and over 500 yards per game. And guess what? They returned 7 of those 11 offensive players. That includes 3,000-yard passer Landon Ledbetter and wideout Carrion Fields, who racked up 1,700 yards receiving last year. In year 3 of varsity football, Wigginton is hoping his squad is ready to make that next step.
What we've tried to do is model this athletic program after those type programs, and yes, I'd be lying if I said that we don't want to be that, but that's every day we talking and every day we working, and that's what we're trying to be.
Look for Argyle to make a run to the state final game for the 5th time in 7 years. They're replacing some skill position players, but Coach Todd Rogers always has the Eagles ready come Week 1. Kennedale will have its usual formidable running game, and this year's featured back will be Deshaun Curvin, who ran for over 2,000 yards last year. And in 4A Division II, Salina will be hoping to add to its 8 state titles.